Welcome back to our Super Hoops Walk. Thank you very much for joining us. It's episode 30. And this week we have some rules written by GPM. Number one, we're never ever wearing the gold kit again. Connor at the bottom says, burn the gold kit. No QPR fan ever mentions the playoffs again. And Marti's good, but he isn't God. That is it. Welcome back to 20 minutes of QPR chat. We're talking about, are we too defensive away from home? We've got lots of Marti criticisms to go through this week, which sits uncomfortable with us, but we're going to go through it anyway. We're looking at QPR's March fixtures and making some predictions. How many points from the 5 games in March? And we're asking all QPR fans, including you watching, what is the one team in the bottom that you would love to see relegated more than any other? Which fan base are you sick of the most? Stay at the end of the video to find out what Joad, Jake, and Michael say. Thank you very much for joining. We've done 30 weeks of this now, so we'd love to get 30 likes. Press the button there if you've joined us for any of our content so far. Right, how are we, fellas? All good? Back from Portsmouth safely? Can you believe, Joad, that Portsmouth have done the double over QPR? What's that about?
It's typical QPR. I can remember in Swindon's only Premier League season, they won a few games. They did the double over QPR home and away. So we have a history of letting these poorer teams beat us. But fair play to them yesterday. From that first minute, the fans were up for it. The players were on it, and we just couldn't cope with the atmosphere, with the intensity that they played at. And I think it's a game where hopefully Marti will learn quite a lot, because there's been other performances like Derby away where we put in a similar kind of, I want to say half-hearted performance, but that might be a little bit harsh.
Okay. First off, our Portsmouth fans wanted to say straight from the off that QPR were the best away fans that they've had at Fratton Park all season. So if you went, well done. They said you were singing all throughout, which is great to hear. But that doesn't help you out, Michael, because you came back with absolutely nothing, and we're going to talk about lots of Marti criticisms here, which is not what we usually do. But let's go for it. Rob says all we do away from home is sit deep, invite pressure. We start losing, and then we start playing football. It's been the same for nearly 2 years now. Nothing changes. Why? Also, Tobias Kurt says, Marti, again, you set up too defensively away from home, showing zero ambition to win the game. This tactic always works against us. It's also awful to watch. Even when we managed to score, we were still second best to the ball from that moment onwards. Zero pressure. Right. Are you having this Marti slander, Michael? Are they right? Are we too defensive away from home?
I feel like there's a case to be made. I do also, you can't forget the first half of the season where we were only winning away and we couldn't win at home. So I feel like we're setting up. I don't understand why Harrison Ashby's coming on. I know we've got to change the shape of the team. When you're losing, don't bring on the worst defender who can't go forward either. But I just feel like we got everything wrong. I feel like Isaac Hayden and Dazelle were two of the best players on the pitch, unfortunately. So I feel like I sort of didn't expect us to get anything from the game anyway. We will struggle at Fratton Park, and we will struggle against Portsmouth. So, yeah, it's what it is. I think we should have set up more attacking. It's nice to see Dembele on the bench, though. So hopefully, when he comes back, he'll hit the ground running.
Okay, Jake, some more. Adam says, and what about a goal down subbing in Ashby, who's shown nothing all season? Same as Michael says, over Morgan and Dembele. Beef Forever says, yup, anyone can see that changes were needed at half time. Shockingly bad first 45 and the first 20 of the second. Called Marti clueless. Harsh, Jake, isn't it?
I think he got the subs wrong, and I thought that he had Yang and Colback ready to come on for about 10 minutes, and they were just standing there waiting for something. Maybe not 10, a good 7 minutes they were waiting to come on around the hour mark, and that's crucial points of the game there where you could sort of spin it, but delay, and and then Ashby came on after, and I knew at that point it was just sort of, I don't know, maybe trying to limit what they're going to bring to us. But yeah, I can't see why he's bringing on Ashby at that point in the game when you're trying to chase a goal. Yeah, I thought the subs were pretty terrible, to be honest, and bad game management all round. So
okay. Yeah, and the slander carried on with Ian. Jawad, says, oh, no kidding. Played so well versus Derby. Then he changes the team. And it showed until the subs were made. Big weakness of this manager. Is there too much chopping and changing for you, Jared? Why don't we just carry on with the team that demolished Derby 8 days ago?
He only made one change, and he explained it after the game, saying that he felt in an atmosphere like that, throwing in someone like Yang ahead of Paul Smith would be a mistake. And I kind of agree with him. I think in terms of the starting 11, it's probably what I would have done. In hindsight now, seeing how off the pace Varane was, I probably would have started Cole back in an atmosphere like that, in a kind of high intensity championship game. I think he struggled a few times. But yeah, one change isn't that dramatic. I think we'll see more changes next Saturday now. After that day. I think we are a fan base where when we win, we're definitely making the playoffs. When we lose, we've got no chance of the playoffs. And I have to say, the defeats recently, the Millwall game, the Sheffield Wednesday game, the Coventry game yesterday, if we score first in any of those games, I think we go on and win all four. I think it's the fact that we haven't kind of maybe been positive enough right at the start of the game. I think we kind of played into Portsmouth's hands yesterday. So I think the defeats recently have almost been kind of games where if we play them again with the same 11, I think we'll probably win two of them. So I think, yeah. And one of the guys that you just showed his comment, that Rob guy, he literally is the most negative person on social media. So yeah.
I did try and find some positives, I promise you all. Let's talk about Varane, though, Michael, as Joe has mentioned him. It wasn't Varane's best game. He'll be a good asset eventually, but he shouldn't be starting games. We need to get Field and or Cole back as defensive midfielders and Morgan as the more forward mid, depending on midfield structure. With a season behind him, hopefully Varane kicks on next season. Do you agree with that?
I think he's inconsistent. I think that's his biggest issue. On his day, people on Twitter are saying he's our best midfielder and that he should be starting every game. And why isn't he starting? But then, obviously, when he has a bad game, like he did against Portsmouth, everyone's slating him and saying he shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11. So, I agree with Jawad. With Colback should have started that game. I think when you're playing against a side like Portsmouth with Isaac Hayden in their midfield, they've got an experienced team. You need somebody with experience in those sort of grounds to go in and not be afraid to make that tackle and play the ball forward. So, I agree that Varane probably shouldn't have started that game, but I don't necessarily think that he's our worst midfielder.
Okay. One more, Jake, and yeah, we've gone nearly through the whole team here, but there was lots of criticisms. Doug says Frey has been really poor the last few games. I'm not sure what he's offering at the moment. And again, Connor's note to the kit staff: don't ever choose that stupid gold shirt. Again, the gold shirt was getting a lot of criticisms. I quite like it, actually. Sure. About Frey, Jake.
I'm not sure. I think all of his goals he's scored have been in the first half at home, besides one at Luton. I think he's definitely better starting on small pitches. So Luton and Loftus Road, the two smallest pitches, just because he doesn't have the pace really to make up ground. I think if you're playing against a high pressing team like Portsmouth, if he'd have started Lloyd, even though he's not the best on the ball, he's still sort of stretching the defense, making runs in behind, sort of creating things for himself. And yeah, when he came on against Hull, he created a goal. And yeah, he's put in some good performances. And I think he's better starting games away on a pitch like that, where they're pressing high and you just sort of need an outball. So that's what they did with Sinclair Armstrong last season. When you've got so much pressure, you can just sort of hit it into the channel. He'll chase it, drag the ball up the pitch. So I think Frey is he starts at home, but not away. I think that's sort of the way he needs to go moving forward.
All right. Thank you all for that. You saw earlier that start of the show, we were told that we're not allowed to mention playoffs anymore for QPR. Jared's comment there is it's still dreaming of playoffs. I'm having an argument with my dad at the moment about QPR and the playoffs. You're still my dark horses. And my dad looks at the league table and says, oh, the mid-table. But you're not mid-table, are you? You are 6 points away from sixth place. So these playoffs are still as much on as they are for many of the teams. There's 12 games to play. That's 36 points available. I know you've got to play all the top 4 sides, which is worrying in terms of the running. But Jawad, this can still be done, can't it?
Mathematically possible. And when you think of teams that, I don't know, in the Premier League, the gap with the top 2, they're still saying Arsenal have got a chance. So 6 points isn't much. I think yesterday was a big one, mentality wise, for the players, for the fan base. I think losing yesterday was a really kind of big hit. I think realistically they'll be looking and thinking now, let's build for next season. However, if you beat Sheffield United on Saturday, then everyone's starting to think, well, actually, we can beat these good teams. It's an interesting game because we haven't played any of the top 4 since November. I think we played Sunderland, so we haven't played one of those best sides since we've improved massively. So it's a really interesting game, I think, to see how he approaches it, how we can handle them. I think if we could win, then everyone's going to be dreaming again, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a sneaky flutter on QPR beating Sheffield United this weekend. Sorry if that ruins it for you. Let's have a quick look at the fixtures that are still to come then of March as we enter a brand new month. And of course, punctuated with an international break after the Leeds game as well. So the players will get a little rest. But yeah, Sheffield United, West Brom, Middlesbrough, Leeds, and then Stoke City away. Michael, how many points out of 15 would you take from this?
The thing is, I think that this sort of fixture list is beneficial to the way we play. I think if we were seeing the Portsmouths, the Luton, the Hulls and stuff like that, I think we'd be expected to win them, but we'd lose. I think we feel more comfortable going into the games as underdogs. So I think we could get 7 points out of 15 out of them.
Okay.
I think depends on obviously who Middlesbrough, like how well they're doing. But yeah, I think 7 points is realistic.
Okay. Jake, any advance on 7?
Yeah, I would have said 7 as well. I reckon maybe 8 if we're lucky, but I can't see us picking up points against West Brom away, Leeds home. The others, I reckon we could take something against Sheffield United, but again, that's being hopeful. But it is at home, so yeah, I'll say 7, 8 at a push.
Yeah, don't forget you went to Bramall Lane, didn't you, at the start of the season and came back from 2 goals down? To draw, with 10 men to draw that game. So yeah, I'm definitely going to put money on it now. I've reminded myself of that. Right. Thank you very much for that. Do drop us a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. One final question this week, which we're asking all our 24 clubs. Which one team, which fan base are you going to be glad to see the back of when they get relegated? Here's the 9 teams which are up for, we think 3 of them are going to drop, and we're calling Preston and above that safe. And it's nice to see Jawad QPR not feature in this question, isn't it? That's the main thing we should take from this.
3 months
so
ago,
then, Jawad, which fan base gets on your goat the most, and quite privately, you'd like to see go down?
I think most QPR fans will be thrilled if Luton or Cardiff or both. So it would be perfect. Those 2 don't really care who the 3rd team is. Maybe Stoke, but Luton and Cardiff. And there's this video from a Luton podcast earlier in the season where a Luton fan says something about being in the Championship, so we can smash teams like QPR every week, and we're beating them 3 times this season, and they're rock bottom. So yeah, that'd be great.
Jake.
Yeah, I think Luton and Cardiff as well. I don't want Oxford, Hull, or Argyle to go down. I would quite like them to stay up. But apart from Luton and Cardiff, I'm not bothered about any of them. Maybe Swansea, to be fair.
Okay. Michael? You're muted at the moment, Michael.
My bad. I'd like Luton and Cardiff to go down. I think it would be poetic if Chris Willett goes down with Cardiff after leaving us for bigger and better things. And I'd like Hull to go down as well, because the amount of money they've spent. And they were everyone's underdogs for promotion, and it's just quite nice to see them down there. So, yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you for sorting all of that out. We wish you all the very best, of course, this weekend against Sheffield United. Thank you for joining us. We'll review it in 7 days' time. Thank you very much for watching.